For those who don't know it, P&T Luxembourg is actually the leading telecom operator in Luxembourg. We are backed by the state, so our shareholder is the state, which gives us a lot of advantages for the stability. We have a turnover of about €500 million. We are the fourth employer of the country. We have a bit more than 3,000 employees, which on the global level doesn't mean a lot, but in Luxembourg it is the fourth employer of the country. We have, of course, all typical telecom services like fiber, mobile, whatever you want. We were awarded 4 times in a row the Best Telecom Services Award, and tomorrow evening is the 5th time they gave the prizes, so we cross the fingers that we will have a 5th time this prize. And also one of our subsidiary, EBRC, has received a prize of the best data center in Europe. They have also received many other prizes, but just to name these 2. Well, that's all about P&T. One thing I wanted to make clear in the beginning of my presentation is the fact that P&T Luxembourg is doing cloud since ages. It sounds probably funny to you that a company who is now, 169 years old is talking about cloud even when it wasn't at its beginning. But it is true. If you look at the technology, I'm going to prove it. You have to go out of here and be convinced that we were always doing cloud. And I'm going to prove it to you. If you look at the technology we were using at the beginning of telecommunications, it was looking like this. This was cloud. And now I'm proving to you. If you look at the definition of cloud, we had already in this session very interesting things about cloud, but I just took the Wikipedia definition. When you look about it, what does it say? It says it's scalable. We only heard this morning. Of course, with this solution, you could call 1 time, 10 times, many times, hours if you wanted. So it was scalable for the customer. Second thing, cost. No capex for the customer to pay. He was renting his phone and was paying his bills. He was paying by the minute. There were no forfait. All-in-one flat was not existing at that time. It was real cloud, like Amazon now. It was device and location independence. All these definitions come from Wikipedia. You can find it there. Of course, you can call from any phone call. And when we came up with the GSM, it was even more true. Multi-tenancy. We amortized the infrastructure we had on many customers. Not everybody had that kind of infrastructure in its home. It was reliable. Normally the phone is the last thing which breaks when you're at home, or normally it's very rare that the phone does not work. Security, it was secure. GSM, as you know, is also improved it. The agents of P&T are even assermentés, as we say in French. I even don't know the word in English, but they have to say that they will keep the secrets. And for the customer, it's very easy to maintain. He had just a telephone. So yes, I hope now you are convinced we were always doing cloud since the beginning. But you probably know that the telecom business of P&T Luxembourg only appeared it was with the telegraph in 1876, something like this, 1880. Before, what we were doing was postal services. That's the P of P&T. And also there, if you look at this business, it was cloud. If you look at all the features, the capex and no opex, it is a truly cloud. It was secure, it was reliable, it was scalable. You send 1 thing or 0. If you don't send anything, you don't pay. It is a true cloud thing. And now, just for the joke, if you look at the bicycle, I think we can add 2 things. It was agile, and it was already green at that time. So it was really cloud. Now, being more serious about it, I think the cloud we talk about now has changed, of course. We now talk about virtualization, redundancy, agility. I will not come back on everything which was said this morning, of course. Broadband access monitoring, etc. Everybody talks cloud. If you type cloud on Google, you get 1 billion results. 1 billion results just by typing cloud. I'm not sure that before we were talking about cloud, the way we do it now, it got the same results. And the first thing you type when you type cloud on Google is not, it's cloud computing, and it's not the cloud we used to know in the past. And therefore, since we were always doing cloud with our infrastructures, with our equipment, it was of course natural that P&T was also invented its own cloud. So I'm going to be very, very short on the offer we have. We have called it very simply P&T Cloud Services. We could have found something more fancy, but I think the simple things are sometimes the things which works best. We have now, for the size of Luxembourg, more than 1,000 virtual servers for our own usage, but also for customers, of course. Of course, I'm not coming back on this. We are redundant, multi-site. The security is the main focus, or one of the main focus. We have national connectivity. We have Teralink for the international connectivity. We have a cloud infrastructure on. We have cloud on infrastructure, on collaboration tools, on applications. And we also cooperate with our subsidiaries like EBRC, which is the largest data center provider here in Luxembourg, which has currently 2 Tier 4 certified data centers and soon 3 Tier 4 certified data centers, which is a unique characteristic in the world. There is no other countries where one operator has two Tier 4 operator data centers in a single country. And they also sell cloud services, of course, under the name TrustedCloudEurope.com. Netcore is another of our subsidiaries, which is an integrator. And last but not least, Visual Online, also present in this room, by the way, who is an internet service provider and also a data center operator with Tier 2 and Tier 4 using the infrastructure of EBRC. If you found more detail about our cloud, just go on cloudservices.lu, you will find it. The site is still growing in a growing modus. So, having said this, what's the problem? What do we see in the field? What is our vision? What is the return we get from our customers? It's very simple. Customers talk about security. I think this point was already addressed a few times here. This is one of the most first thing they talk about. How secure will be my data? Of course. They talk about trust. That's probably the reason why EBRC, our subsidiary, has used this word for their cloud. They want to be confident that if they put their goals, their information somewhere else, it will be secure. They want us to handle the complexity of the infrastructure they have in place, of course. And last but not least, they have already legacy systems. They have already things in place. And so for them, the first question is, how do I do the first step? They've all heard about cloud, but how do I do the first step? And what is the answer? I guess there are many answers. The answers, we believe, is that the local cloud approach can be an answer. So why am I talking about this? What is the local cloud approach? Well, basically, the local cloud approach is basically the fact that a company like P&T or another company in a different country can bring the cloud to people who want to use it in a manner which is more close to the customer. This brings a lot of advantages. The first one is the support. As you might know, Luxembourg has 30,500 companies. These are numbers from 2009. And of course, there are new companies coming each year, but the majority of them already exist, and the majority of them have already a solution in place. And so the problem for them is not the cloud in itself, is how do I move to the cloud? That's the thing we found out. How do I move to the cloud with everything I have in place? And this is where the local cloud that, for example, telco like P&T offers, allows them to move easily within the cloud without having to change everything from scratch. With the local cloud, of course, they're not left alone, which is a very important thing when you talk about trust and security. And also, it brings the human touch. That's also something which we heard a lot of times, that people say, yes, but I don't want to speak to a website, or I don't want to speak to a call center, I don't know where. Here, people are based in Luxembourg, and so the companies who are coming to us in Luxembourg, of course, they are talking to a person, and we can adapt the level of granularity of support to their needs. No company has, if you take 10 companies, they have 10 different needs, and there, the level of granularity we can give them can be tailored. Of course, the connectivity plays also a role if you do cloud. If you do cloud, you are basically dependent on your connectivity, and the fact that the cloud is based, in our case in Luxembourg, and it is based on our core infrastructure. It is in our Metro Ethernet network that we put the cloud. So when they access it, well, distances are very short, access is direct. It is like if they would be on our network. It's like if they would be on one network, which is if it would be their network. So quality of service is at best. Of course, the very high-speed broadband internet networks we are deploying in the country help a lot. You might know that currently now 85% of the lines can have more than 25 megabits per second, actually 30 megabits per second, and 25% of the lines of the whole country can have already 100 megabits per second. This helps, of course, to deploy the cloud, and this goes fully also in line with what the government wants to is looking for Luxembourg, of course. Short distances, of course, brings more availability. It's common sense. If the distance is very, very long, you might have more cuttings on the line. And also the service level agreement is also something very, very unique. Since we control the cloud and the connectivity, we can measure and we can provide to the customer an end-to-end solution and really a quality of service on the full service. Another advantage is, of course, the location. When the location matters, our cloud is located in Luxembourg. It's a local cloud, of course. It brings a lot of advantages for the companies who first need to be established in Luxembourg. There are some articles which say, take care, some data needs to be here, or that's a concern which comes. And here, for legal reasons, if you have to have your data here, well, this is the case. Some other companies want to be based in Luxembourg to have the benefits, to have the advantages, like we heard this morning. And in this case also, you are in Luxembourg, you're not in a different place. So I'm not saying that it's local in these terms that you can only serve Luxembourg with this cloud. To the contrary, from Luxembourg, being because Luxembourg is central in Europe, very close to Germany, very close to France, very close to UK, it allows to serve, of course, the local market, but also the European market, also thanks to the international connectivity like Teralink. I just put there a few examples. Also, I put on purpose some examples where really the security is very, very important, like the European Investment Bank. For them, security is key, and they are on the cloud of PNT. If you look at the European Financial Stability Facility, which we are all talking about these days, they are also on the cloud of PNT. Another example was Hosted Exchange, for example, or CSAM, which is an e-vault, where you can put your valuable documents. A last example I wanted to show you is what we do in the cloud to create TV channels. You probably, those who are in Luxembourg, know Paperjam as a magazine. Paperjam also now exists as a TV, and the whole technical thing is done by PNT in our cloud. The whole thing. So we do the encoding, the encapsulation, the linearization, the streaming, the video on demand on their movies is going to come very soon. To all devices. They launched in 3 months, and this is I'm sorry that we don't see it very much, but this is a print screen of their screen yesterday evening, where, for those who know him, this is Etienne Schneider, the new Minister of Economy, and it was an exclusivity that he was interviewed on these channels, which launched 15 days ago. So one of its first interview was on this channel, created in the cloud. Incredible. So, one last thing I wanted to say before my conclusion is that apparently we're not the only one who are thinking to the cloud. If you, again, you see that I like Google as well. If you go to Google and if you type global cloud and local cloud, guess who is winning? Well, probably you guess it because I'm saying it, but that's the results. Local, if you type local and cloud, you get 661 million results. If you type global and cloud, you get 225 million results. This was as yesterday. It evolves all the time. And so, yes, it is something which is happening. It is something where customers see an advantage, and that's why we are looking into it. The last thing I wanted to tell you about this is that there is even a new word, which I didn't know before, which was brought to my mind, to my attention. It's a new concept. I don't know whether you've heard about it. It's called... sorry, I need to press one more time. It's called Glocal Cloud. And if you type Glocal and Cloud, you find already now 5.7 million results on Google. And this is, if you look at the articles which are behind this Glocal Cloud, it is a combination of the local proximity, the local approach that a company, that the telco can bring to a customer, and the globalization of the benefits, basically, the fact that you can access it from anywhere. Glocal Cloud, funny. In conclusion, I would say, as we have seen it this morning, there are many clouds, there are many definitions of clouds in Europe, and also many actors. The local clouds bring some advantages, like we pointed it out, in the support, in the connectivity, in the accessibility, in the location when it matters. The quality of service, the SLA, is also very, very key. It was a standard for telco. Telcos works with SLA since years. And so when we decided to offer the cloud to other parties, it was, I would say, natural, and telcos are seen in this field also as a trusted partner. It is not because we talk about local cloud that we cannot address the global needs or the international markets. And voilà, and we think that PNT can make the local cloud happen. And as I always say, let's talk. I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Bye.